Hello, Rama Rama Pupodu. Hope all are good, happy, feeling relaxed, having a peaceful life, and healthy always. Now let's go to chapter 2 Kollur and Kasaragod. Number 1 Real Contentment. Umanadaro, a pure and selfless soul, with his devoted wife, came down from Kundarpur, a small town to the north of South Canara, to take Ramdas over to his place. Ramdas left Kadri cave. The object of Umanath Rao was to get him the darshan of a venerable saint staying at the famous temple of Mugambika of Kollur. The same evening they reached Kundapur. They travelled by motor bus. The kind friend provided him with a separate room, the upstairs of a house facing his own. Ramdas passed happily a period of about a month and a half in Umanatharo's delectable company. Umanath Rao was a true philosopher. He lived a life of selfless service. He was simple and unassuming by nature. He held a British University degree in medicine. In a spirit of renunciation, he had given up government employment and had taken up private practice. He was greatly loved by all the people of Kundapur for his ready medical aid at all hours. He was kind and sympathetic towards all rich and poor, old and young, high and low. He would not take any fee for his services from the poor, and even from the rich. He would not accept any remuneration when he was not in need of money. He was entirely free from anger, guile, and malice. He was extremely charitable. He would often speak of the world as only a play of God, and that the best way to live in it was to witness the game dispassionately. The light of love ever illuminate his heart. When occasions arose, he would do the meanest service for the relief of his fellow men. He also possessed a keen sense of humor and was remarkably witty. He was indeed a pure, godly, and noble soul. Rao, of the proposed trip to Kollur, arrangements were at once made to start. Ramdas, Umanath Rao, and another friend, crossing a river by boat, came to the road leading to Kollur, which lay through a dense forest. Here they boarded a bullock cart. The path was narrow and rugged, cut through a vast, extensive jungle spreading all along the way to Kollur. The jungle was infested with wild beasts. Kollur was reached without nothing of importance having occurred on the way. Kollur is a small village on a plateau bounded on three sides by tall mountains called Kodishatri Hills. Kotishatri Hills. A dense forest of giant trees growing on these lofty and towering hills lent a peculiar majestic and fascination to the place. In the center of the village is situated the shrine of Mugambika, the mother of the universe. Umanath Rao led Ramdas directly to the part of the outer buildings of the temple where the saint was lodging. Ramdas bowed down before the holy saint. He appeared to be over 70 years old. His eyes were large and greenish in tint, and their expression was distant and listless, but mingled with a gleam of tenderness and cheer. He owned a flowing grey beard that lent sanctity and light of wisdom to his full and beaming face. He was seen squatting on the floor, wearing only a cowpin. Having inquired after the welfare of the visitors, he straightway launched into religious talks. He recounted a good many stories from Bhagavat and other sources. He discoursed eloquently upon bhakti or love of God. In the enthusiasm of the talks, his body would convulse with spiritual rapture. At intervals, he would shut his eyes and sit silent for a minute or two, his face lit up by a strange spiritual glow. He referred to his body as a monkey prone to all sorts of tricks. "Look here," he would say, pointing to his body. "This monkey is often up to its tricks. The limbs get so cramped with rheumatism that they refuse to move about freely." And he would add with a chuckle, "The monkey is always full of chesta." His legs were so weak that he could hardly walk without help. He lived alone and still was always cheerful and contented. His strictures upon worldly life were sharp and severe. The saint would keep the party engaged with his lofty discourses till late in the night. He would never get tired of talking about God and his glories. Whenever he was alone, he was observed to be busy writing down in pencil the name Ram, with which he had filled up many notebooks. Altogether, the stay with the saint lasted only 3 days. On the second day, they were joined by a young but blind sadhu, led in and attended on by an elderly widowed lady. The sadhu appeared to be about 20 or 22 years old. Owing to the two cataract spots on the pupils, he had become stone blind. Dr. Umanath Rao went up to him and, examining his eyes, gave him to understand that a simple operation would restore his sight, and that he was prepared to do that much for him. The sadhu turned around and said, "Kind sir, I would have nothing of what you say. I am perfectly contented with the lot God has bestowed on me. What do I care for the external and perishable sight when the internal has opened? The former is a snare, and God, through his infinite mercy, has deprived me of it, so that my inner vision may all the more be pure and glorious. I am happy and cheerful in the contemplation of the Divine Lord who dwells in the hearts of all. May he always keep me in tune with him." As he spoke thus, his eyes, the light of which had gone out, were filled with tears, and his face shone with a wonderful lustre. The 3 days glided away most blissfully in the society of these saints. Before leaving the village, the party visited the shrine of Muhambika. They returned to Kundapur, stopping with Umanath Rao for a fortnight more. Ramdas left for Mangalore. On the way, he halted for a day at Udupi, where he met K. Anandarao, a pure soul living a retired life engaged in austerities. Ramdas enjoyed his most delightful company. He read out to him selected quotations from various philosophical works he had studied. In fact, he poured into Ramdas the very essence of the highest truths. He was all love and kindness. In this connection, Ramdas cannot help mentioning the remarkable love and regard with which he was uniformly treated by all, including the members of the family to which he belonged in his past life. Ramdas, during his stay at Udupi, took a stroll with a friend to a distant water spring where he bathed. On return, they paid a visit to the celebrated temple of Sri Krishna, founded by Sri Madhvacharya, the great religious reformer of southern India. That's all, folks. Let's see in the next chapter. Thank you. Bye bye. Rama Rama Puppodu.